and I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself. I ain't taking no loss. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'm a
Peace and welcome to another episode of Elevate the Mic, and I'm your host, Max Mupese. Today, I'm joined by a guest who's not only a DJ, someone who gets a lot of love and respect in the city of Montreal. Let us all welcome Chops Wunda. How you feeling, man?
Good, yo.
Oh, all is well, all is well.
Yes, sir.
First time meeting you, first time seeing you, man.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure to meet you, man.
Thank you. How do you feel about, how's your days these days? Like, how's life these days?
It's pretty good, man. Honestly, blessed to still be doing what I'm doing, man. So, yeah, still DJing, still in the game.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I can't complain really too much.
Got it. So, DJ Chops Wunda.
Yeah.
How did you get that name? Tell us about that.
It's kind of a funny story. So the name was given to me. There was a girl back in the day, probably when we were like 16. We used to call her Sui.
Okay.
So like Chop Sui. And the joke was that she was my girlfriend. And so my boys kept calling me like, yo, Chops, Chops, Chops. And then it just stuck. They would introduce me as Chops. They'd be like, yo, this is my boy Chops. And I hated it, man. Like, I hated it. I'm like, yo, just call me by my name. Call me by my name. And
Got it.
And they just kept doing it. And eventually it just stuck. And to this day, like over 30 years later, still Chops.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you said a girl, I thought you were going to talk about a high school crush but
Nah, like we had nothing to do. Like
it
was just like, it was my friend's cousin actually. And
Okay.
it wasn't even my girl or nothing. It was just, they would tease me and be like, yo, there's your girl, there's your girl.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, tell us about some of the bitter, sweet feelings you've experienced growing up in Montreal. You grew up in Côte des Neiges, if I'm not mistaken, Uptown, or?
Uptown originally, then to the West Island, and then hopped a little bit everywhere. I was in St. Henry, I was by Atwater, and then now I'm back Uptown.
Got it.
But
it's home.
Yeah. Uptown is Uptown, man. So yeah. Bittersweet. I mean, the sweet thing is just growing up around, I guess, like different cultures, different communities. So I think that's one of the best things about Montreal, I find. So
Yeah, 100%.
Growing up with like all different Asian people, all different black people, like the English, the French. I think that's really what makes Montreal dope is bilingual, all that stuff, like, so being able to like just switch up like English, French, like I find that super dope. The bitter part about Montreal is I think too much French maybe, like forcing the French too much.
That could be an issue.
Cause,
forcing it.
Yeah, because I feel like we all speak French, or most of us do at least.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a reason to push it because like we all do, and that's what makes Montreal so dope is that we're able to speak French, we're able to switch up from English to French, and that's what makes Montreal one of the most unique places I think in the world.
Absolutely,
is to
100%
go back and forth. I saw this thing on Instagram or Twitter or something, and it was like it said only a few people can read this paragraph without pausing, and it was like English, French, English, French, English, French, and it was just like if you're from Montreal, you just go through that easy. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
it's interesting what you're saying, specifically when it comes down to growing up with different ethnicities, different people, or people from different backgrounds specifically, because I was having a moment throughout my day a few days ago when I was passing through a different restaurants in Montreal. I'm like, wait a second. It's almost like a cheat code. We get to experience not only different foods culture, but we also have an idea of what the reality is.
Oh yeah.
And then you're here in Montreal, like, okay,
yeah.
I'm with people from Iran, people from Afghanistan, people from all kinds of places in the world, and then you're like, okay, this is what it feels like,
right?
And then they bring this culture here in Montreal. That's unique. It's powerful.
Yeah, growing up, like my neighbors, one was Dominican, one was Indian, one was Trini, and it's like you're going to their house, you're having dinner, you're having lunch, you know, and you're really taking in that culture and that vibe, you know,
Absolutely.
from every walk of earth, you know.
Facts.
Yeah.
Nah, I agree with that. Now, what's the craziest prank you ran as a child, as a kid? And look back at some of the days, because you were mentioning how your friends used to tease you. What was the craziest prank you did as a kid?
I remember we used to walk around with camcorders back in the day, like handheld, like video cassette, like camcorders. And we would post up on St. Catherine Street and like pass out flyers for the clubs. And like that was the old school way of marketing. And so just to have fun, one day we crazy glued like a toonie to the floor. And we decided to take that. So like for hours, man, that toonie was there for like 6 hours, 8 hours, and we were there just laughing. Just watch people like
try to pick
reach
it up.
out. Yo, this one guy had like his lighter and was trying to like smash it off. Like, yeah. So we did that for like 8 hours, man. We were just dying, the whole clique. Like, yeah.
So you said you used to pass out flyers with your people.
Yeah.
Would you say you were a promoter at the time, or how was
So
that?
we started as flyer boys. So this wasn't even promoter. I think promoter is the level after flyer boy.
Yeah.
So the clubs would hire us to stand on the block and then, you know, just pass out flyers. Be like, yo, this Friday, this Saturday, come check us out. Come check out the party. Like, we weren't DJs then. We were literally at the bottom. We were like 17 years old, 18 years old, just passing out flyers on the block. Like, and then we would put flyers on all the cars. We'd go to movie theaters on Tuesday nights, put flyers on every single car.
Damn.
So that was the way to get the word out. You know,
Okay.
they would print maybe 6,000, 12,000, 20,000 flyers a week, and then we would get rid of that like
throughout the week.
throughout the week.
Okay.
Yeah, that was our job, me and my boys. So that's how we got our foot into the game.
That's amazing,
when
man.
we were like 17 years old.
Old school ground roots.
Yeah.
You know, grassroots hustling. Just
Right.
hustling.
Before
and bustling.
internet, before all that, like before Facebook, before you could promote your stuff on events and whatever, it was really like face to face with people, you know.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Now, I used to do that at barbershops, or even take posters and post them on
Right.
trees until I realized it was illegal.
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
to,
yeah.
I think you had to go through a certain agency or certain
Right.
people you have to contact to post
Yeah.
posters on trees.
Yeah. Even passing out flyers was illegal. You know, it's
wow.
considered like soliciting. So you would get the
Okay.
same like charge as like a prostitute. You know what I mean? Like if we got caught passing out flyers. So like, you know, we pass out flyers and then like we'd always be on the lookout, like if the cops were gonna pull up.
Yeah.
You know, so we always had to keep an eye out, and it's like, yo, Popo, and then it's like, all right, we gotta run, we gotta hide, you know what I mean? So, and that was like every
Whoa.
day. So we were kind of like known on the street, like as the flyer guys, you know.
Okay.
Just from everyone on the block to the police to everyone. It was like, oh, those guys, you know. So
Okay, so it makes sense what you're saying, because sometimes I would see, for instance, employees from City Styles standing in front of the building and passing out flyers.
Yeah.
I would assume, okay, it makes sense because they work for
Right.
the company. But if
Yeah.
it's just us hanging out in the streets,
right.
okay,
Yeah.
damn.
I think there's like exceptions to the rule if it's like political or religious or whatever, or you have to be within the distance of your business or
Okay.
whatever. I think like there was like certain rules like that, but yeah, what we were doing was definitely not like legit. Like that was like guerrilla marketing, you know, like
Yeah.
really.
Hey,
Yeah. We would go to the schools. We would like throw the flyers all over the cafeteria. You know, like we would go to like Dawson by the atrium and just like literally like
throwing it out.
everything. Yeah. You know?
and of course, when people would pick it
Yeah.
up, it was like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah. You know, people come from lunch and it's busy and like people are running through and it was just like, all right, now's the time. It's like, just like throw it out. And we would do that. We go to every school, go to Dawson, Vanier. We go all the way to John Abbott. Yeah. Like all that.
hustling.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
really doing it.
So, what was your first album? What was the first hip hop album you bought, and what made you fall in love with hip hop specifically?
What made me fall in love, I guess, was like So like I said before, like my neighbors were like different backgrounds. I had like Trini neighbors, I had like Dominican neighbors, but my like Trini neighbor, his which was one of my best friends back in the day, his older sister was the one that had like all the music, like all the dope music. And
Shout outs to the sisters, man.
Yeah,
My sister
yo.
also put me on to some music, some hip hop music, man.
Straight up, man. So I would go to his house and we'd be a little kid playing video games, playing Nintendo, whatever. But then his sister would be there, like, listening to all the dope stuff, man. So, like, I remember hearing, like, Belle Biv DeVoe and, like, NWA and, like, all these stuff. But I think the first time I heard NWA, because it was so, like, raw and, like, the cussing and all that, I was like, yo, what is this, man? Like, this is so aggressive. This is so, like, but I like it, man. Like, there was something that made, like, it was just, what is this, you know? So, yeah, like, that was probably the thing that, like, caught my attention the most, or like, first. And then it was kind of, like, discovering the other stuff. But my first album that I ever got was Will Smith, actually. Like, his first album with Jazzy Jeff was called I'm the Rapper, He's the DJ.
Shoot,
And
damn,
that was, I want to say like 89,
okay.
something like that.
Damn.
Yeah. And then my mom, who was like very old school, she didn't want me to get a cassette. She didn't want me to get none of that. This is even before CDs. So she was like, you have to get it on vinyl. So it was like a double vinyl, Fresh Prince, Jazzy Jeff album. That was like my first. Yeah.
That was before HMV, or HMV was still like.
It might have been before, yo. Like,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm that old.
It brings back memories, because it's interesting. It's funny you mentioned Will Smith. He's actually on a run right now for an hip hop album. He's releasing a new album.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it just goes to show you the longevity and the impact that he has, and had and continuously has as an artist,
Like
or even as a creative.
Sorry to cut you off.
It's all good.
But yeah, back in the day, Will Smith was really, like, when they first came out, like, he was really a part of that, like, hip hop,
You know?
history and stuff. Everything he did after, I mean, Summertime was dope and all, but everything he did after was like super mega commercial and stuff. But when he did come out, like I would say he was definitely part of like history and whatever. And then Jazzy Jeff is maybe the greatest DJ of all time.
Seriously.
So yeah.
Jeez, man, that's different, man. And thinking of the impact that he has, man. And both that they both have. Shout outs to them, for real.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
dope. Now, you mentioned that Jericho from the Goon tribe,
Yeah.
was one of your mentors and a DJ that had probably the most influence, or the biggest influence on you. Why would you say that specifically, and how did that come about?
So Jericho is that's my best friend. That's my brother, and we started in the game together. Well, he started a little bit before me as a flower boy, and then he brought me in. He's like, "Yo, we need some help." He's like, "Come do this," and so yeah, we basically started in the game together. We moved up from flower boys to promoters, and then Jericho started DJing. He was like the first one of the crew to start like DJing, and so I wasn't really into the whole DJing thing back then. I was more, he was like, actually grab the mic, like you be the MC.
Okay.
And I was like, I guess, man, I never done it before, but you know, like I like to talk like my shit, you know.
Right.
So it was like, all right, like let me try it out. So I was MCing for like a very long time. Like that was what I was known for before DJing. DJing probably is only the past like 15 years or so, but MCing was from like 99 till even like till today. But yeah, so MCing was my main thing. And I got to MC with a lot of people, but Jericho was the one that I was always with. Like I was his MC. So I would study him, like the way he plays. Like I was always around him. So his style, the way he did it, it really like impacted me. And then when I started DJing, his advice was like, that's the one that gave me the best advice, was always kind of critiquing, and very raw with it too. You know, he didn't hold back with anything. It's like my
Constructive
set
criticism.
always, you
Amazing,
know,
amazing.
even more than constructive. He would be a jerk about it. You know, like he's like, that sucked. Like
It was coming out of love.
yeah, man. Like tough love, you know. But he was always real with it, and you know, if it sucked, it sucked. If it was good, it was good, man. Like, but he wouldn't just freely just say, "Oh, that was good," and give you props, man.
Right.
You know, like even if I thought it was dope, he'd be like, "It was alright." You know, he'd be like, "It was cool," you know. But every once in a while, he'd be like,
Right, that's good.
you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't even say it, you know, because he doesn't want to, you know, blow me up too much. But it would be like, he's like,
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll
you
give you
did your thing. You did your thing, you know. So, but yeah, that's my boy. That's my brother. And without him, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. You know, like straight up.
I believe that we need that, man, for every creative, every artist, every entrepreneur, every, you know, thought leader, however you want to claim or call yourself.
Yeah.
We need that person that just gonna, you know, challenge us.
Yeah.
If it's just always yes, you know, a bunch of yes people around us, then it's not authentic, right?
Yeah,
So
100%. No.
I agree with that. I like that.
Yeah, I believe that like a lot. Like I try to do that myself. Try to help where I can. You know, there's younger DJs that come up, and you know, you try to just lead by example.
Yeah.
You know, and give constructive criticism and whatnot. Yeah.
Appreciate it. That's good, man. Now, you've also organized events at Club Orchid, right?
Yeah, back in the
after-
day.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
definitely.
it. Tokyo also was one of the major venues you used to organize
Yeah.
or host at, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did Tokyo for 18 years.
Shoot.
Yeah, every single Sunday night for 18 years. From like 2000 to 2018.
Damn.
That
Every
was
Sunday, 18 years.
every Sunday.
Damn.
And we had Sunday because back then no one would give us a Friday, no one would give us a Saturday. It was like, who are these like hood Asian guys? Like, you know, no club. They're like, they didn't want to give us a night. Like the way we dress, you know, everyone wanted. Back in the day, you had to dress nice to go out. You know, you had to wear dress pants, you had to wear dress shirt, button-up shirt, and all that. And we would come like this,
The
you
cool
know.
kids.
I mean, we were just us, you know.
Right.
This is how we dress and whatnot. So Sunday, they're like, we'll give you a Sunday, and we're like, no one parties on Sundays, but like,
Okay.
we're gonna make it the best Sunday you've ever seen, you know.
Which is crazy because at one point, a lot of people were talking about you guys need to go to Club Tokyo on Sundays. I'm like,
Right.
wait, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
And you guys made your name there.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah, we killed it, and like mad celebrities would pull up too. You know, we've had like NERD pull up. We had like Jamie Foxx pull up, like Miguel pull up, like. So yeah, we definitely made a name for ourselves on like a Sunday night that was definitely not known to be a party night. So yeah, that's probably part of our legacy is like Tokyo on Sunday.
Kudos to you guys for
Thank
real.
you.
And what do you think are the pros and cons in today's nightlife that you've witnessed? Because you're also able to see based on, you know, what you saw in the 90s and today specifically.
Pros and cons. I still feel like hip hop has a bad rap in Montreal, especially. Like, I know the city doesn't like it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's tough. You know, they'll come into, you know, cops will come into venues. The inspectors will come into venues when they know it's like a hip hop night. You know. Because to them it attracts a certain clientele, which is
Violence, ghetto.
hood, but
yeah.
it's like it's so not that anymore. Like
Right.
hip hop is like it's everybody. You know what I mean? Like everyone listens to hip hop. You know, like and it's the most popular music in the world.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So everyone and their mom listens to hip hop nowadays. So for them to still have that. Or hip hop to still have that like stigma attached to it is kind of crazy, and I think that's definitely one of the cons in Montreal. And then because of that, a lot of owners of clubs, they don't want to deal with the city and whatnot. Like they'll choose like house over hip hop, or you know, like different genres of music over hip hop because of that. So to find venues that play predominantly hip hop or mostly hip hop or just hip hop or even hip hop dance hall, like that vibe.
Right.
Like it's hard to find these days, you know. It's not as easy as it was before. Like I think there was a period where it was kind of
it was
like
predominant.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's gone again. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's a bit. That I'd say that's one of the toughest parts.
Con. Okay.
Yeah, like being a hip hop DJ, like playing mostly hip hop, playing mostly dance hall. I feel like that. Like yeah, that's definitely one of the cons.
Okay.
But pros is when you do find the venues and the places, it's fun, man. Like you know, people really party. People want that, you know. So when you're able to provide it, and you know, when you have owners that understand it, that understand the vibe, that understand crowds, that understand people, like when you have that that match with the owners, like it's limitless to like the dope things that you can do, you know.
Got it.
And there's a lot of young guys these days that I think are providing that vibe too. So it's dope to see that it's still going and people are still fighting for that vibe.
Listen, man, it's important, especially when it brings people together and there's no violence. It's positive, you know. People are having fun. That's what we want to highlight. However, if ever, because it could happen, if ever it goes the other route where there's, you know, street beef or any kind of you know, nonsense bullshit that happens, then that's another story. You know. However, like, we tend to go more towards the positive side for the most part.
I think Tokyo, that's one of the reasons why we lasted like for so long, was there wasn't really any beef, you know, or if there was beef, literally it was taken outside. Yeah. Because people wanted to party on Sundays, you know, and they wanted to come back on Sundays. And I mean, we knew a lot of the street guys and stuff, but like because like there was a mutual respect, they're like, all right, we're not fighting in here, you know, and we want to come back next week. So if there is beef is outside, you know. So yeah, that's what it was, man. It's like they respected us, we respected them, so it was always good. There was nothing that really went down like at Tokyo. And then the mix of people also is what made it dope. It was like black, white, Asian, brown, like everything, every color was there, man. So that's what made it really dope. Sometimes I would stop the music
and look around
and just be like, yo, like look next to you, you know what I mean? Like you don't see this everywhere. Facts. So like that's something that we really took pride in, was that like mix.
Amazing. Yeah, music brings people together.
Yeah,
for real.
Definitely.
Now tell us about the reality you faced at one point. If I'm not mistaken, you weren't a club owner, right?
No.
Okay, got it.
No.
And the reality, I was going to ask you, the reality you faced as a DJ and juggling entrepreneurship at the same time.
Yeah. So, well, we were like the main promoters and we were also the DJs. So I think that's what made us stand out, I guess, or maybe like be different from just a regular, like a DJ or just a promoter, is that we were like the total package. Okay. So if we were getting booked, is like we took care of the promo, we took care of the music, we took care of designing the flyers, we took care of passing out the flyers, all that. So that was like Goon Tribe as a collective. Okay. Like, well, the word Goon was pretty much like the guys who did the dirty work in the mob, right? Like, so you hired the goons. It's like, you'll send the goons. So that's what we were. Like, as a flyer boys, we were the guys that did the dirty work. You know, like, it's like the promoters, you know, they did their thing and came up with the concepts. And it's like, all right, it's time to send the goons to, like, to promote, you know. So we pass out the flyers. But, yeah, so, like, for us as a collective, that was what we did. And it was tough because we had to do everything. But that's also what, like I said, separated us from everybody. So it wasn't just like, all right, we go in, we do our gig. Yeah. But like all week we were working so that gig would be dope. You know, it wasn't like, I show up, we play, collect our pay, whatever. So for us, it was like, we don't just want to get paid as a DJ. We want to get a piece of the door. We want to get a piece of the bar. We want to get this. We want to get that, you know? So it was like, how do we do that? Well, it's like we got to promote, we got to do all these things rather than, like I said, just show up and collect like the pay.
check.
Yeah, as a DJ. So when you would book us, you knew that, like, we're coming with the crew. We're coming
Yeah.
with the tribe. We're bringing a crowd with us, and that was
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people were able to connect with you guys a little bit better because some of them would be able to see you in the streets promoting and then like, oh yeah, true, it's those guys. Oh, it's these guys. They're promoting, and at the same time they're hosting the event.
Right. Like, on the street is really probably where we made our reputation, you know, where it was like people would see us every single day. And back in the day, it's not like today where downtown people don't really be like walking around downtown. Like, you know, before everyone was downtown. Man.
Yeah.
Everyone was downtown, man. Before Instagram, before all that stuff, before, you know, people would be downtown, man.
Jacob the jeweler, the
Right.
stores.
Exactly.
And, I remember that.
City
Peel.
Styles, like Vibes, like all the hip hop stores, like, you know, everyone would be downtown. Everyone's shopping downtown. No one was like in the suburbs or whatever.
Right.
It's like everyone came downtown. Like on a Friday, Saturday, it was busy, man. So like that's how we made our rep. It would always be, you know, you guarantee you were gonna see us.
Got it.
You know, like so that's how we made a lot of our connections, how we made a lot of people, but definitely how we got seen and like exposed, I guess.
Okay. Now, speaking of which, I want to double down on entrepreneurship. What would you say is the hardest pill you had to swallow as an entrepreneur or as a business person?
I'd say the stability, I guess, of your income, because there's high seasons, there's low seasons, there's weather, you know, like there's it fluctuates. So eventually you can kind of forecast, you know, what's going to happen, when slow season is coming and all these things. But when we were first coming up, it was like we weren't really prepped for, it's like, all right, our summer was lit, but then literally come the week after Labor Day is dead. And it's like, all right, we're making mad money for like 3-4 months straight. And then just the week after, literally, like there's like 20 people in the club, and you're like, oh shit, like, yeah, you know. So like eventually it's like, all right, now we gotta save because the next couple months are gonna be slow, you know. Or then it's like, okay, now we gotta plan to make sure that the week after Labor Day we got something planned so that people show up, you know, and it's not just like a regular night. We gotta forecast for these events. But sometimes you could plan, and like in winter, you never know. It could be like a snowstorm. You get like 40 centimeters of snow.
No one's going out.
Nobody, yo. Like, so we'll have a venue that fits like 2,000 people. I remember when it was like January 1st one year, and we had booked, I don't know, like a dozen DJs. It was like we had 3 rooms. 3 rooms. It was like 4 DJs each room. We had DJs from Toronto, DJ from New York, probably, like just everywhere, you know.
Prepared and everything.
Yeah, and 40 centimeters of snow, and it's like, you know, no one's coming. Like, no one's coming to this, man. Like, you know what I mean? So
they bought their tickets already.
we had sold some tickets for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like the rest that you're expecting to come, you know, like, because a lot of people are last minute, you know, like they'll just pay at the door or whatever. But yeah, and then you just get screwed. You're like, damn, now you gotta pay out of pocket and whatever, you know. So yeah, that's definitely like one of the tough parts of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the reality of a promoter, really. Yeah. Like, hey, you gotta anticipate, think steps ahead. You know, gotta make sure that everything's aligned with what you're planning on doing. And, and if it doesn't, then there's always a plan B, plan C, plan D.
You try your best. You try your best, man.
Oh man, shoot. So, what could, based on your experience as well, like working in clubs, working at restaurants, you also work at Farsides, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes. Tell us about how you got in. How did you get that opportunity to work for Farsides, and how did that come about?
So Farsides, it's like, that's the fam, you know, like, so the main owner of the group, or like the group that owns Farsides, is gigantic, and they had originally started, well, John Jay, who's the main owner.
Shout out to John.
He was the owner of Orchid back in the day. So it all started with Orchid, and we were all at Orchid. Then it went from Musique, and then Musique, Farsides, and Bordel, and there's Yoko, and like everything there. So
chain of businesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a couple of the other homies, my homie Jason and my homie Mike, they're part owners too of Farsides. And I guess it only made sense, you know, to be part of like that clique since we've been together for so long. Yeah, or like been working together, partying together for years. So like since the early 2000s. So when they opened Farsides and the theme was 90s, 2000s music, yeah, it only made sense.
Hopefully the city could give these guys a break. I don't know. It seems like I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy. I clearly see it as some sort of, you know, low blow type of hate. I don't know what it is. It's like there's constant way of blocking their success whenever there's progress happening their way. So you got to see what happened, right? Like how they blocked their entrance.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Big
So
C.
like the whole Big C thing is crazy. Like it's like 40 Big C spots in front of Yoko Luna, and that alone was like yo, that's crazy. Why would they do that? There's literally a building next door that's abandoned.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Like next door to it.
Nah, you serious?
It's abandoned. It's been abandoned forever. So it's like, why not just
go ahead.
move it down like 20 meters? You know what I mean? Like that's simple. You're not blocking an open business.
Right.
So that alone was a shock. And then on Friday, I went to work at Farsides, and then I saw Big C blocking Farsides and Hang. And I was like, okay, like that's wild.
Not a conspiracy right there, man.
Like, yeah, so
Listen.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to say too much, but
yeah, I get you.
yeah.
Now, when it comes down to, because you're also part of a project called Sunday Service, right?
Yeah.
I got a chance to hear about it. It's very, very positive, very impactful.
Right.
Tell us about how that came about.
So Simon, who's the owner of Nirvana Tattoo, which is in Chinatown, he wanted to try to do something to get different entrepreneurs, hustlers, business owners together, and then trying to kind of build like a community type thing. So he started it last year, and he would get like restaurant guys, he would get DJs, he would get different tattoo artists, people that sell clothes, any type of entrepreneur, you know. People are selling like hot sauces, people are selling bags. Like every Sunday service is a bit different and themed a bit differently. But yeah, the main goal was trying to build like a little community, you know. And then I think it was trying to highlight Chinatown a little bit too, and like the kind of new school vibe, bring that new school energy also to Chinatown, because Chinatown is very old school. A lot of like people that have been there for a very long time, and he's kind of the new guy on the block.
Okay, to revamp or even bring some youthful energy there.
Yeah, exactly. Bring a new vibe, bring something different, and but yeah, that's what it is. Today is actually a Sunday service, and I'm going straight there right after this.
Got it.
Today's theme is actually like a Caribbean theme.
Okay.
Yeah. So they got like
Reggie cuts.
Yeah, Reggie's
my barber,
doing
shout
his
out
thing.
to him.
Oh yeah, word.
Yeah,
All right,
shout
that's
out
what's
to
up.
Reggie.
Yeah. And then Chef Roy, who's opening up his new coffee shop / restaurant soon, called Pas de Problème.
That's amazing.
He's opening that, so he's doing his thing, and yeah, so I'm excited to actually.
Yeah, listen. I hear, you know, community gathering and positivity. That's what I get from your story and what you're telling me. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes down to, I wanted to touch on the fact that you also work with Gigantic. You said Gigantic, the big corporation. You guys were able to bring Rihanna and Drake. How did that come about exactly? Yeah, or specifically Drake, right? Drake was one of the first people.
So Drake, one of my homies, one of my friends is like Drake's best friend. Like we know a couple of guys in the camp before Drake blew up, like whatever. Like we knew a couple of his homies. I know his barber, know his best friend. And his best friend Nico would always tell us, he's like, yo, you gotta book Drake,
Right.
And I was always like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He was like on Degrassi. It was like, I was like, I don't know if that's a fit. I don't know if I could sell that, you know?
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, all the hype came along where he was, you know, he's having these sessions with Lil Wayne, and then he signed to Lil Wayne eventually. And I can't remember what tour it was, but Lil Wayne was on tour.
Young Money?
No, Lil
Before.
Wayne was an opener for whoever it was. It might have been Kanye. I can't
Okay.
remember who it was. But Lil Wayne was opening, and he was bringing Young Money with him
Okay.
to kind of introduce Young Money to the
New
world.
roster, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's when it was like, I was like, yo, maybe we should book Drake now, you know? So, you know, I talked to Jason at Music, talked to John Jay, and it was like, all right, let's see how we can make this happen, you know? So end up calling Nico, and I was like, yo, like let's do this. And he's like, all right, yo, put Drake on three-way, and then connected them, and that was it, man. And so we were pretty much the first people to bring Drake to Montreal.
It's amazing, man.
To Orchid.
Orchid, yeah.
Yeah, and then all the Young Money showed up. Wayne didn't show up, but like all the Young Money showed up to support Drake. So, you know, Nicki was there, and Gutta, and like the whole
Jay
Young
Mills,
Money. Yeah, Jay
yeah.
Mills. I was so hyped to see
Jay
Jay Mills,
Mills,
yo, because all the
Battle
freestyles.
rapper,
yeah, man, I
he
was such a fan, you know.
Same. Nah,
so,
Jay
yeah,
Mills
when-
had his time, for real.
Exactly. So when Jay
Really.
Mills was there, I was like, yeah, that's what, you know, that was what's up. So we took pictures with Jay Mills. Didn't even take a picture with Nicki. I didn't want to meet nobody else. It was like Jay Mills. So me and my boy,
He's
we
the
were
guy.
like, yeah, man. I don't even think I have a picture with Drake that day. It was like literally just
Jay
Jay
Mills is the guy.
straight up.
Nah, I feel you 100%. So when that experience was just like mind blowing, pretty sure. Huh?
Yeah.
Or because it's at the early stages of his career, so you don't necessarily know where his career is gonna go. Like you
No
don't know
idea.
if that's crazy.
I mean, there
Sometimes-
was a feeling that he was gonna be
like a star.
something,
Mhm.
but
But not-
no one could have predicted
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the biggest artist in the world, not even just rapper. He's like
Seriously.
the biggest, yo. So it's like, yeah, we could have never predicted that, yo. We literally saw him from nothing almost, you know,
Literally.
like, and I remember his, I hit him up and I was like, what do you want, like, for your writer, for your drinks and whatever. He's like, a bottle of Henny and
That's it?
a bottle of vodka that's not cheap. Like, he literally
Wow,
said that, yo.
okay.
That's literally what he said. I was like, I say less, man. Like,
That's when you know you're gonna have a great time. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't have to stress about the writer. I'm good.
it was nothing crazy, yo. But now I'm sure it's a little bit different.
Right.
But yeah, man. So to
Got it.
see what he is today, like, you know, we've been to his concerts like in the past couple of years, and you know, you get to hang out at these parties, and to see what it's become is he created an empire, and
Yeah.
you know, his homies are taken care of. Like my boys,
OVO.
yeah, yo, like all my boys that are with him, like they're taken care of for life. You know what I
Amazing.
mean? So like
Shoot.
it's dope to see. Like it's really cool to see.
He puts his people on. Shout out to Drake.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is about writers. Interesting sometimes when you have to book an artist or you're dealing with an artist as writer. What could stress you the most? Sometimes it could be the specific details in
Oh,
the
yeah.
writers. I'm like, man,
I've seen some stuff like they want the specific candle scent, and they want like random stuff. Like I want barbecue wings, and I want this, and I want that, and I want, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I remember
Jeez.
112. They're the ones that wanted the scented candles. It's like when we walk in, we want this smell. And like,
as a writer in the
Yeah,
writer.
yeah.
Oh man, damn man.
yeah.
So when you look at today's music scene in Montreal specifically, and you pay attention to, you know, the club scene as well, what's happening in parties, what would you say is missing for an artist out of the city, we could say in the English side specifically, or even the French side, that could make their presence a lot more dominant in those nightlife, in those clubs, or even in a nightlife?
I think it's to develop a relationship with DJs. I think that's the main thing, you know, because like if you have that relationship, a genuine relationship too, you know, and that's how you're gonna get your music out and played, like by these guys, you know. So it's like, send your music to DJs, send your stuff to DJs, and then have those conversations of like, okay, was it good? Did you get a reaction? What can I do to make it better? What can I, you know what I mean? And like have these genuine talks, you know. I have one of my homies, DJ Franz, he's in Las Vegas, and I don't know anyone that has better relationships with artists than him. And he has, like, every artist that you could think of that's big, like, he's had relationships with them from jump, from like Rick Ross to Drake to Future to like whatever, you name it. Like he has genuine relationships with these guys from like early on in their careers. And even when they blow up, like they end up still like
becoming,
like
they're still
the
in
relationship
contact
is
with
still
them.
cool, you know. Like, so they go to Vegas, like
Birthday
like
parties.
they tap in with him, you know. Like even Jay-Z, you know, like, so Jay-Z shouted him out at his concert in Vegas. It's like, yo, DJ Franz, and I see you, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I think artists and DJs, and it's also DJs to be open to have these relationships also, you know what I mean? So I think that's very important for an artist, and it's also to get out of the city, because everything's bigger than the city also, you know what I mean? So it's dope to represent, and I think it's important to represent, but also to know that
it's bigger than
it's big, man. Like you can like think bigger, think worldwide, think outside, think, you know,
global.
Think Canada, think US, think everything, you know. Get out of the city, travel, see what's out there, like feed your mind and like be open, you know. And I think that's important. And I think all the artists that have gotten big are the ones that have left and explored, and, you know,
eventually.
Because then if their sound is appealing outside of the city as well, then that shows that they're doing something right, you know. So
that's kudos to everybody who took that decision or that leap of faith, because it shows that, you know, there's a certain focus that you need in order to make those things happen. So I was gonna think of something specific to what you were saying, but I don't want to lose that train of thought. I'm gonna go back to another question, and that one was specifically geared toward the back in the day concept at Farsides.
Right.
Tell us about that, and how did Jason came about with that idea?
Yeah, Jason and his wife.
And his wife?
Yeah, Linda. Yeah. So, yeah, there's just kind of been a lack, I guess, for the age demographic of like maybe like 30 and up, 35 and up clientele. There's not too many venues in the city that cater to that group.
Which we were talking about earlier,
Right.
Yeah.
So
Important.
I think like this was the opportunity to tap into that. And so, yeah, they put together like Keith Dean's the other DJ and myself, and the whole concept is just taking it back in the day, you know, like old school music, old school vibes, you know, just fun, grown people stuff. You know, leave the kids at home, get a babysitter, come party. And yeah, that's what it is. So we've done 2 of them already.
Okay.
And it's been a
success,
huge success.
Yeah, I saw the videos, man. I'm like, I got to go to the next one.
Yeah, everyone's singing along. Like it's really a good vibe. And then it's all faces, familiar faces, all like, people that we used to see, that used to come to Orchid, that used to come to Tokyo. Like they're all there, man. So yeah, it's fun, like really cool.
And that happens every season, like.
So far it's been like every couple months.
Okay.
The next one is in like 3 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Easter weekend.
Got it.
Yeah, so we'll see, man. Like, it's only getting better, so who knows what's in store, for the future. It might get even bigger. Who knows?
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely. I'm end off with the last few questions. One of them would be, what's the best, or even what's the biggest project you've worked on to date that you're the most proud of?
there's a couple, I guess. We used to do this party called Down with the 90s. So that was kind of our version of like back in the day. Like, so we used to do that maybe like once a year or twice a year, and it was really to, like, in the early 2000s, like there was a lot of rap that was coming out that I didn't like. Like I was being like a hater, like I was like, oh, I hate Lil Jon, I hate this, I hate like
Them
this.
franchise boys, yeah.
I just wasn't feeling it, man.
Snappy,
I don't know.
laffy taffy. Yeah.
Now I like it now.
It's
But when
crazy,
it came
huh?
out, I didn't like it, And so I was like, no, we gotta stick to like the
Raw,
90s,
real, yeah.
and like the dance hall and all that. So we probably did that for like 10 years, once or twice a year. And it would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we would do bigger venues, 1,500 people, 2,000 people, and then we would bring like different DJs. We would bring DJ Jazzy Jeff, which was like a dream come true for me. Like, to bring Jazzy Jeff
In Montreal.
to Montreal and
Man.
to MC and to whatever, like just to work with him, shake his hand, like talk, joke with him. Like that was probably one of my highlights of my career. Like,
wow.
was meeting Jazzy Jeff, and then he actually tweeted like that night after he did the party. He's like, just did a party called Down with the 90s in Montreal.
Wow.
And this is the best party I ever DJ'd.
Dope, man.
Like, I couldn't believe it, Yeah.
Got a picture with him and everything. Huh?
Yeah. So then I messaged him after, and then he DM'd, and he's like, bro, you killed it. And then he said, I might need an MC for me in Europe in the next couple months. He's like, I'm gonna let you know. It never happened, but
even then, just think of you.
Yeah, I
that's
was like,
big, man.
all right, I'm good. Jazzy Jeff, like, yeah.
You also met, rest in peace, DJ Clark Kent, right? You worked with him at one point, or was it just like?
No, we never
Okay.
worked together, but we did meet a couple times. One of my homegirls, Cherry, she used to work at this clothing store back in the day. Used to sell sneakers and stuff, and then she was like one of the main buyers over there. She was taking care of sneakers, and she had a really good relationship with Clark Kent. So it was like through her, like she did events, and then I got to meet him, and then I met him in New York as well, one of these parties. But yeah, that too was like was an honor.
Historical.
Yeah.
Shoot, man.
Like, we've been very fortunate to meet like legends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, very fortunate to have conversations, and to be in the same room, to be in their presence sometimes is like, it's like, whoa, like,
you're going somewhere. You're doing something a lot more progressive than you thought.
It's a trip sometimes. Like, you really take back sometimes. Just be like, whoa, am I really here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No, it's a blessing though.
Out of everything you went through, all of the experiences you've gone, all of the experiences you've acquired, what's the best advice you've received from one of your mentors or a person that you're close to?
Can I cuss?
Go ahead, man.
One of the best things I've ever gotten advice was fuck with people that fuck with you. Like, don't try to impress nobody. There's people that fuck with your energy, that fuck with what you do, and those are the people that you gotta that's what you gotta feed. You know what I mean? Stick with that, feed that relationship, make that relationship, like, solidify that, rather than try to convince someone else. Like,
Yeah.
No, I'm dope, yo. This is what we do, yo. Fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like when you start to do that, then you're not yourself anymore. So it's like, just be you, man. Like this is me. This is how I dress. This is how I talk. This is what it is. You know what I mean? And if you're not cool with that, then it's just not meant to. And it's no hard feelings. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's
yeah.
just we're not meant to work together or whatever. We still be cool. It's it's what's up. It's hi. It's cordial, or whatever. But like the real relationships, it's like fuck with people that fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like I think that's very important, because then it's just you're you. You don't have to be anybody else.
Now, what do you have to say to people that could be listening to this interview and agree with a lot of your points, but they tell themselves, listen, man, Chops Wonder, like the DJs are still not playing a lot of Montreal artists' music.
Yeah.
They're not supporting Montreal artists. What's your thought when you hear that?
Honestly, I'm probably guilty of that myself. You know what I mean? But I do think it's like I said, it's the relationship with the artist. So there's a few artists in Montreal that I do have relationships with. But I think most of the DJs in the city don't have relationships like at all with artists.
It has to be genuine. Like, hey, DJ,
Yeah,
do this for me.
right.
Like,
It's like, yo, play my song. Or they'll come
Right,
up and
right.
say, yo, play my shit.
Nah.
And it's like, nah, man. It's like, I don't even know what the song is. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just run it and then whatever. It's like, yo, send it, email it. Let's have a conversation. Let's sit down. It's like, yo, I want to talk. Like, my name is so-and-so. You know what I mean? It's like, try to develop a relationship. Like, I think that's the main thing. It's like, DJs in New York, DJs in Atlanta, it's like they have these relationships with with the DJs, the artists and whatnot. Like the strip club, for example, like in Atlanta, it's like that's where the artists go, you know what I mean? And like they make these relationships with the DJs. And I'm not saying like you have to pay a DJ to play your song, but in Atlanta, like it's like, yo, show some love, man. It's like, you break them off a little something, but then it's also because they have that relationship. So it's like, I don't mind paying because you're a homie, it's like, and so their song gets played, and then it goes off in a strip club and everyone's like, oh, what's this, what's that, and the girls like it, and then, and then it just spreads, but that's how like the Atlanta scene got big, was through DJs like in the strip club.
Connecting with artists, yeah. It makes me think of certain ideas that could be, thought of, like, shoot, Orange Julep, Joe's Panini, any other place where it could be a hub where a lot of artists and DJs could meet each other. And you never know, it could be restaurants, just hang out there and have a good time, and eventually things could turn out a lot more positive or a lot more greater than what it is, And
like I said, it's not all on the artist. I think DJs too have to be open to that, because it goes both ways.
Both ways, yeah.
100%.
I want to move on to the segment called If I Had a Chance To. So If I Had a Chance To is if you had a chance to speak to your 16-year-old self, you had a conversation with that person, what would be the first thing you would tell that person, whether it's words of encouragement, anything? Any fuck-ups, like, hey, don't do this. Like,
well, one would be fuck with people that fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like, that was when we were young. I think we had a lot of maybe animosity towards people that weren't fucking with us.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it just kind of really wasn't. Yeah, but then it wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean? And it led us to do what we do. The guys at Tokyo gave us a night, and we were able to do what we did for a very long time. And we were, we made our name through that. So like, we were able to grow. They supported us. They supported our events. Because of that, we were able to do big things. We were able to have collaborations with like Monster, with Heineken, with like, with big brands and whatnot, like through that. So I really think it's like genuine relationships is like something that's important. And another thing was probably like, invest when you can, man, because like when we were young, we missed out on like a lot of opportunities to invest, where we would have been like laughing today.
Crypto?
You know? Not even like just like property and stuff, you know, like the price of stuff back like, you know, early 2000s, you know, like was pretty cheap compared to having to invest now or whatever, you know, like I remember one of our partners was like, we were probably like 21 and he's like, yo, let's buy a building, you know, and it was like,
what?
It was like,
what
yo, I won't buy a
about?
building, man. Yo, but we were making money, man, and it was like, nah, man, no, fuck that, yo. You know, we were happy, like we didn't have no money ever, you know, so it's like we got money and it was like, hey, yo, buy fly kicks, you know, we were buying every Friday. Me and Jericho would go shopping, like we're getting our gear for the weekend. It was like literally every week, like it was just shopping, like, and it was like we're just kind of like balling out. But it was like if I had the advice, I was like, yo, save that money, invest the money, and you know, you take a little sacrifice for the future. But you know, when you're young, I mean, you're young, you know. So, like when we started passing out flyers, we were making $20 a day, bro. Like $20 a day. We would be doing this shit for like 6 to 8 hours, making $20. But we were 17 and grinding. But we were like, yo, we get to go to the club for free. We're underage. We get to drink for free. We get to meet girls. You know what I mean? Like, and so whatever.
And also to work on your sales skills. You're working on different type of skill sets. So that's important.
Yeah, which led me to open a restaurant down the line, you know what I mean? So it's like, definitely learned a lot of stuff that led to that. But yeah, I think advice would be like, invest when you can, sacrifice a little bit, because,
Got it. And fuck with the people that only fuck with you, pretty much. Like,
connect
with the people that
genuine relationships, man. Like, focus on that. I think that's the most important. There's always someone that's gonna believe in you, and without you having to convince them, whatever. And then through that, that's when you're able to, you know, just be yourself and like focus on like the task at hand, I guess, rather than put energy into fronting or be like
forcing,
you know, like even like speaking proper or fucking dressing proper. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this is what you're getting, yo.
You know yourself.
I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Unapologetically.
Right.
Lastly, how does Chops Wunda wants to be remembered?
Just someone that really just loved this, you know? Like, I loved the nightlife. I loved bringing people together. I love music. I love hip hop. I love dance hall. Like, I love like the culture. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, just someone who really loved what I do. You know?
Man.
Yeah, like that's bringing people together, I think is one of my strengths, and it's been a blessing to be able to do that. And I think that's
it's a unique skill set, man. It is.
I've almost given it up a couple of times, but I've been reminded where it's like, yo, there's something there, man, and like, you can't just throw that away. And
it feels bigger than you, and it is bigger than you for the most part, right?
Yeah. Like, even when we opened the restaurant, like it was able to bring people together, you know, and like we got hit hard during COVID, but it was a place, one of the only places you could go to was restaurants. Damn. You know, everything was closed. Malls are closed, theaters are closed, like everything's closed, man. You know what I mean? So you couldn't do anything but literally go get food. But that would be like the hub where people would be like, all right, I'm gonna go pass by, you know, like the Petit Vibe, go grab something. But then you're gonna see people when you're there. Like, there's always people bumping into each other. It's like, oh shit, what's good, you know, like. So yeah, even that, when we did that, we were able to bring, you know, people together, community together, and
Speaking of bringing people together, feel free to plug your Instagrams, your handles, your restaurant. You said the Petit Vibe, right?
Yeah, we actually closed it, you know, like. Oh wow. Yeah,
cool.
We closed almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Yeah, things just didn't like work out, but as far as like plug in. Just Chops Wunda
Yes.
on Instagram. I mean, just Chops Wunda on everything pretty much. But yeah, you catch me at Farsides. I'm at Apartment 200. Just a little bit everywhere, man. Just keep a lookout.
Absolutely, man. Listen, thank you for the work you're doing, man.
Word.
It's honorable. It's respectable, man. And just to bring people together, that's something that truly does not go unnoticed whatsoever.
Word.
And I see from outside looking in how a lot of people show you love, how people big you up. So I could tell that you're standing for something that's a lot more impactful than people could think of. So, man, salute to you.
A lot of respect, man. Thank you.
100%, man.
All right.
Keep doing your thing.
Yes, sir.
And there you have it. Another episode of Elevate the Mic, where we elevate mindset and skill sets of individuals who are part of the hip-hop community. Peace.
Hold up, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me.